Dragon Ball Super Kakarot is way closer than you think. And no, this isn't one of those fake rumors that pop up every few months. We now have official comments, multiple reliable leakers backing the same information, and honestly, all the pieces are starting to line up. Is the sequel actually happening? Let's break down everything we know. This whole situation actually started behind the scenes back in late June. It wasn't even a public leak at first. It was being shared privately between a few people in the community. And believe it or not, I actually received that information too. I've put a screenshot of the chat on screen, though I've censored some parts because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Some of these people have genuine sources, and the last thing I want is for someone to lose their credibility because of one screenshot. At first, I didn't think much of it, bro. We get Dragon Ball leaks all the time. Some turn out to be true, others disappear without ever happening. So I treated this exactly how I treat every leak, with a grain of salt. Until a few days later, everything changed. The biggest piece of evidence came directly from Japan Expo during a conference with CyberConnect 2's president, Hiroshi Matsuyama. CyberConnect 2 is the studio behind Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, so whenever the president talks about Dragon Ball, people are obviously going to pay attention. During the conference, he was asked a very simple question. Are you planning to make Dragon Ball Z Kakarot 2? Instead of saying yes or no, he completely avoided the question, only saying that they're working hard on their anime licenses. Honestly, that answer immediately reminded me of another situation. Remember Spider-Man No Way Home? Before that movie released, there were leaks everywhere saying Andrew Garfield was returning. Every interview he did, people kept asking him the exact same question, and he never gave a straight yes or no.
I'm not the werewolf.
That's exactly the vibe I got from Matsuyama. If there was absolutely no sequel in development, the easiest answer would have been, no, we don't have any plans right now. Instead, he gave the safest, vaguest answer possible, one that doesn't confirm anything, but doesn't deny anything either. And that's exactly why so many people started paying attention. Then things escalated further. One of the most reliable Dragon Ball insiders, Sophie and Geek, who's been correct around 90% of the time, basically confirmed that a Dragon Ball Super Kakarot project is indeed happening. Nothing's officially announced yet, but when you combine multiple leakers saying the same thing, private info that started circulating weeks earlier, and an official interview where the president carefully avoids shutting the rumors down, it gets a lot harder to ignore. I was also told this sequel has already been in development for around 3 years. Now, before anyone assumes that means it's almost finished, 3 years actually tells me the opposite. It's probably still in relatively early development. Game development takes a long time, especially if they're rebuilding systems, improving graphics, redesigning combat, and making a much bigger RPG. So personally, I don't think we're anywhere near a release yet. I think they're still cooking, and honestly, I'm completely fine with that. I'd rather wait another year or two for an incredible sequel than have them rush it. But before we go further, I want to make one thing crystal clear. Take every leak with a grain of salt. I'm excited too, but until Bandai or CyberConnect 2 officially announce this game, nothing is confirmed. Plans change, games get delayed, features get removed. So treat leaks as information that could be true, not as facts, until the official reveal happens. Now let's talk about what Dragon Ball Super Kakarot actually needs to become a worthy sequel, because as much as I enjoyed the first Kakarot, it definitely had problems. The biggest one by far was the combat. I'll just be honest, it was way too easy. Almost every fight felt exactly the same. Dodge, attack, charge key, repeat. There wasn't much strategy or challenge involved. Once you understood the basic mechanics, you could beat almost every enemy the same way. For an RPG, that's a problem, because RPGs are supposed to reward creativity, different builds, different playstyles, and instead, Kakarot's combat became repetitive. So, if CyberConnect 2 is really making a sequel, this has to be their #1 priority. Make the combat deeper, give us enemies that force us to think, increase the difficulty, and make every transformation and boss fight feel unique. Dragon Ball isn't just about flashy attacks. It's about adapting during battle and finding new ways to win. That's what made fights like Goku vs. Frieza, Gohan vs. Cell, or Goku vs. Hit so memorable, and I want this sequel to capture that same feeling. That's exactly why I think Dragon Ball Super deserves its own Kakarot game. It's never received a faithful video game adaptation, sparking zero adapted parts of it, but rushed through the story mode, and every other game focuses almost entirely on gameplay. None of them let you experience Super from beginning to end, the way Kakarot did with Dragon Ball Z. And honestly, I think it's finally time. We've replayed the Saiyan Saga, Namek, Cell, and Buu so many times that I think Super deserves the spotlight now. Especially with everything happening in the franchise right now, the remake, the Moro arc, and the possible manga return. Everything is shifting towards Super, so why not release a Dragon Ball Super Kakarot alongside all of that? Imagine starting with Beerus arriving on Earth, then going through Resurrection F, Universe 6 versus Universe 7, Goku Black, Tournament of Power, Broly, Superhero, Moro, and Granola, all inside one massive RPG. That would genuinely be insane. But I know some of you still want the Z story too, and I actually have the perfect solution. Instead of rebuilding Dragon Ball Z from scratch, just import the entire story from the first Kakarot game. Xenoverse 2 already did something similar by letting you replay the Xenoverse 1 story through DLC. So why can't CyberConnect 2 do the same here? Upgrade the graphics, improve the combat, add the new movement mechanics, maybe polish a few older areas, and add missing cutscenes. Then let players experience the Z story before seamlessly continuing into Super. Another thing I want them to improve is exploration. The world in Kakarot looked beautiful, but after a while it felt kind of empty, mostly flying around collecting orbs, fishing, and doing repetitive side quests. Imagine if the sequel expanded that with more cities, more planets, more NPC interactions, actual RPG mechanics, hidden bosses, and random world events. Dragon Ball has such a massive universe now. It'd be a shame if we only flew around the same maps again. Now, of course, none of this is officially confirmed. Plans change, games get delayed, projects get canceled, anything can happen. But when multiple reliable people start pointing in the same direction, when CyberConnect 2's president avoids answering the question, and respected leakers begin confirming the project, it's becoming harder and harder to believe that nothing is happening. Personally, I genuinely think Dragon Ball Super Kakarot is real. Maybe it won't be announced tomorrow, maybe not even this year, but I do think it's coming. And if CyberConnect 2 learns from the first game's weaknesses and finally gives Dragon Ball Super the faithful adaptation it deserves, this could easily become the best Dragon Ball RPG we've ever played. Now it's time for shoutout time from the previous video. Sun Wukong commented, "Bro, even Dragon Ball is holding Japan's economy in real life. And Toyotaro said if Dragon Ball were to end, then the economy of Japan would fall financially. Please shout out me in your next video." And bro, your wish has officially been granted. I do want to quickly mention, that's actually a pretty common misconception though. It's not true. And I'll probably make a dedicated video debunking that myth since I've seen a lot of people repeating it lately. But thank you so much for the comment. I really appreciate it. So yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it and subscribe. We're trying to reach 25,000 subscribers. And until next time, take care and see ya.